Ooh, wee, Big Mo. Welcome to the Lawn Stars, guys and gals. How big is your business? I mean, are you a one-man deal, or are you aspiring to be a mowing mogul? You know, and have a big, huge setup and dealio. I myself have never had a big to-do, you know. As far as the company goes, you know, it's always been a 1, 2, 3 man operation at the most. But I have seen the other side of it, and that's because we worked for a guy, me and King Brando, when we first started out, as I've told you guys before. And I saw what the workers did to his equipment, and they were horrible with it, you know, mistreating the equipment. Therefore, his equipment, you know, and I've heard, you know, y'all talk about having good equipment. You know, we've had those discussions, having good equipment as opposed to just bad, you know, just wore out stuff. And all of his stuff was crap. And it was really by design. He had plenty of money and he would get stuff when he had to, but for the most part, if you mistreated the stuff, you had to use crappy stuff, and that's the way he rolled, you know. He wasn't gonna go out buying new stuff constantly because the idiots kept tearing up stuff. I remember we had this one blower, backpack blower, that the part of it that rests against your back, they knocked a big hole in it somehow. I don't know how. And you'd be blowing with that thing, and all of a sudden, and it would suck your shirt tail up into the blower, and all of a sudden it would go boom, and you'd see just what was left of your shirt go blowing out the end of the blower. So it was kind of funny. But yeah, I saw firsthand how they would treat the stuff. I mean, he went to a trade show one time, and I'm assuming it might have been the GIE back in the day. I don't know. But I remember he went off to this trade show and he came back with this new mower. And I tried to do some research for this mower, and I could not find a picture of one of these to show you. I would have popped it up on the screen. I've yet to find one. I think it was called a Shortcut, and from what I remember of it, it's been a lot of years ago, it was like if a jet ski mated with a mower, and the baby would look like that, would look like a Shortcut mower. Yeah, it was this odd long thing with a long seat, just like a jet ski, from what I remember. It was really weird. I've never seen one like it before or since. And but he bought this thing brand new at this trade show, brought it back. First day we took it out, this idiot named Eddie was driving it, and we were at a yard, and it had a wall, you know, this drop-off wall that was about along the driveway, and it was about, I guess, about 4 foot high or something like that, 3-4 foot high drop off onto the driveway out of the yard. He just takes off on this thing. This thing flew, man. It was real fast. He takes off on that thing and just runs right off of it on purpose, just to do it. And that's the kind of crap that he had to deal with being a big business, because he wasn't, you know, he couldn't have been with every crew, obviously, because he's just one man. But he didn't go out with any crews at that point in his career. He would work on his rental properties, or he would work on irrigation systems or stuff like that. He never went out with the mowing crews. So he couldn't oversee it. And if, like I said, if they tore it up, and mistreated it, then they had to use old beat up crap, and we had to use old beat up crap because those idiots would do it. And man, he had to deal with all kinds of stuff. He had to deal with people would pawn his equipment. You know, he'd be like, where's the chainsaw? You know, he said, I want it back by the end of the day, whatever it takes, have it back, or you're all fired or whatever, you know what I mean? So somebody would go get it out of the pawn shop where they pawned it. You know, it's insane. I know, sounds crazy. I know at least a couple of times he had guys that would steal his equipment. I mean, stole whole truck, trailer, everything. I remember this guy named Marty Root worked with us, and he was a character, or he is still. I'm assuming he's still out there alive and kicking. Oh, Marty Root, he yeah, I'll tell you some more about him later. Not today, but I'll tell you at some point. He's a video onto itself. But old Marty Root was he wouldn't go to lunch. You know, he would always carry his lunch. He wouldn't go to lunch with the other guys, and he was up doing a landscaping job with this one dude, and the guy left for lunch, left Marty there working, and never showed back up. Yeah, well, Marty was just left there up on the mountain, and he took off with the owner's truck, trailer, mowers, everything, gone. Stole them. Of course they got caught, but still, you know, this is the kind of stuff that, think about, that you may have to deal with in the future if you are wanting to be a mowing mogul. Yeah, if you're wanting to be a mowing mogul, you might have to deal with those sort of things. Hope not, but you never know. Kind of turned me off from ever wanting to try to have to fool with a bunch of people working for me. Anyway, guys, let's go mow, and then we'll chat a little more later. How about that? Let's do it. First I gotta load up. Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Okay. Yeah, buddy, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall, or a tree in this case, since it was outside when that guy never came back from lunch and left old Marty Root up there on the mountain. Because I'm telling you right now, it was a fiasco. Because Marty was the kind of guy, I'll paint this scenario for you, where say he's coming in one morning to work and he's thinking he's working with his brother Chris, who works there on his crew. Well, the owner switches gears on him and puts him with another crew because, you know, whatever reason. And Marty would freak out over that. The simplest things, you know, like that. And he would be just all messed up the rest of the day. And if you were unfortunate enough to work with him that day, he would drone on and on about it all day, to the point where you'd have to, you know, it'd be like, shut the, you know, you'd have to get violent with him to try to get him to shut the heck up, because he would just keep on and on and on. So I can only imagine what it was like when that guy left him up there. I'm just telling you. But that's the kind of things, you know, that, like I was saying, that you could have to deal with in those circumstances if you're trying to be a mowing mogul. Yeah, it can be it can cause some issues, because now when I say this, I'm not disparaging anybody out there that's listening if you're working for a lawn service as we speak, because, you know, it varies. But in general, there are three or four types of people that work at lawn services. One is people like me and King Brando, who's going to work there a couple of seasons, and then they're going to say, hey, I can make this, instead of making this much an hour, I can make all the money for myself doing the same work. I'm going to start my own thing. You have that type person, which they're not going to last long, you know, like I said, a season or two. Then you have the maybe the college student who's just working their way through college, and you know, the owner knows, and they know it's temporary deal. And then you have the third kind, which is the crackhead or otherwise addicted, messed up individual. I mean, not saying they're bad people, they're just, most of them, some of them are, but most of them, you know, something's wrong, or they would have another line of work. Simple as that. And they don't work out either, a lot of times, because they're, you know, they got issues. And in my old boss's case, there was a fourth kind, and that is he was a strange bird. Okay, he was this red-headed guy that spoke fluent Spanish, because he grew up with missionary parents, and so he was fluent in Spanish from where they would go, you know, to Spanish-speaking countries and be missionaries, and build schools and build churches and things like that. And this guy, one of his son's friend, worked one summer, and I was talking to him. He said, yeah, I've gone on one of these missionary trips with the guy I worked for, and he's like a celebrity over there, because you know, they've done so much for those areas, you know, building churches, like I said, churches and schools and stuff, and they're like he's like a celebrity. So he had this odd connection where he could really tap into some of these Spanish-speaking countries and get these people to come, a lot of these people to come work for him. And he had kind of a situation like this too, that was like That old song.
You load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. St. Peter, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store.
Yeah, they owe their soul to the company store situation. Like he had rental houses and they would rent from him. So it was like he'd pay them to work for him, and then they would pay him to live in his houses, and it was just like a circle thing. He kind of took care of them in that way, and but you know, it's a circle of money, of Gitas, as we say here at the Lawn Stars. But those people, you know, they were, from what I saw of them, most of them, just really hardworking people. But they just didn't last long. You know, they would come and go. And then you'd have some, just like with anybody else, any of those other categories, you know, they'd, one in particular, Lazarus, that worked with us, just a piece of work, man. And we'll talk about Lazarus at some point down the line. He was a character too. And him and King Brando got in a ruckus one time, and it was kind of funny. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. But yeah, all those categories, you're gonna run into problems, okay? Probably. Hopefully you won't. Hopefully you will be able to be, if you want to be, a
Mowing mogul.
And not have any problems. Hopefully that'll work out for you, but it kind of turned me off from that whole situation. But anyway, guys and gals, be safe out there. Eat your Wheaties, take your vitamin, drink vitamins, not just one. I mean, take them all. Drink your water, drink your Gatorade, and be safe out there. And just keep chugging along. I know it's hot right now, still hot, but the cooler weather's coming, baby. And we can stick it out till then. And until next time, Big Mo signing off. Boo!